the bold modern face of the Ford Everest. You can see this is by no means a small vehicle, but it's not meant to be. It's the SUV on the new Ranger platform, but updated, fairly recently launched, and gone very much upmarket on the previous version. It's a long, large vehicle, 7-seater, and it's made to have lots of space. The 3.2-litre 5-cylinder diesel engine that Ford have puts out 147 kilowatts and 430 newton meters of torque, 470 newton meters of torque from this big 5-cylinder engine. You can see large tailgate over here, goes through to a boot area that, like all vehicles of this type, unfortunately the boot area is compromised if you want to use all 7 seats. But at the very simple pulling of a lever, you can fold down the 2 rearmost seats, and of course you can create boot space that then becomes very, very large for the entire family if you're traveling as a 5-seater. Does have full-time permanent 4x4 with low range and downhill descent, all of the features of a 4x4, and having been on the launch of this vehicle last year, I can tell you it is very capable off-road as well. Behind the wheel of the Ford Everest, it may be a big and very big and tough vehicle, but it's a comfortable place to be as well. It's been upgraded, and they've certainly made life comfortable over here. You've got your multifunction steering wheel as always, and then you do have an interesting feature on the dashboard, which is on the 2 sides you have your screens over here, and you can actually scroll through various information on these screens and even change the screens just at the press of a button. The same with the one on the other side, which is more your entertainment side. So very interesting feature in the way they've handled that on the dash. You come to the center over here, you've got your large infotainment touch screen, which on the XLT version that we are testing over here does not have navigation. It's one item, but you can of course go up the limited version at approximately 60,000 Rand more, which does add a number of features that are a choice, and obviously budgetary constraints would come into it. On the limited version as well, one feature which I really like is they do have the active cruise control feature on it, which is not on this version, but it's always a case of you pay your money and you take your choices. You come down to the center console, you've of course got your controls for your air conditioning, your climate control system, and down here you can see a feature I quite like is there are actually 2 12-volt sockets up front for you and your USB down below. Over here, very important control over here, and this is your terrain control, which you simply turn like that and it alters your different modes. And in fact, if you come back up to the dashboard, you will see that when you alter it, it also shows over there as to which mode you've just gone into. And again over here, it shows you there as well. And it tells you something very interesting. It tells you that for that mode, you need to activate your diff lock and your 4x4 low, which are both simply done at the press of a button. So that, again, very, very neat and interesting. The middle over here of this is also your downhill descent control. Again, a very, very interesting feature. And what is amazing, and I've used this on a very, very tough off-road course, is you actually alter your downhill descent control using your speed control buttons and your cruise control buttons, and you can actually move your speed up and down on that downhill descent control using these plus and minus buttons. So that is almost like a hand throttle type of system for that usage. Coming down over here, of course, the gear shift, it's a 6-speed automatic gearbox on this vehicle. There is only the automatic option available in South Africa at this stage. Pretty good, nice on the open road. It really cruises nicely, and I think that's an important factor. Let's take a look what it's like to go into the back seats of this vehicle. Coming into the back, you can see it's a nice climb up, Lots of headroom, that's always important. And legroom with the driver's seat set for myself, very, very good. Over here, I've got the 2/3 of the seat folded forward to show the access to the rearmost seat for your 6th and 7th passengers if you are wanting to carry extra passengers, and you simply pull and do that, and there you are. The seats are back in place. You can adjust the position of the rearmost seats. You can see the large section is slightly further forward to give more legroom to the rearmost passenger, with leaving extra room over there as well. Another interesting feature you do have is there is another 12-volt socket and separate air conditioning controls for the rear seat. Again, nice feature for family travel and family usage. To sum it up, price of the XLT version is 634,900 Rand. It's a lot of car for your money. You can go up to approximately 690,000 Rand for the limited edition. As I mentioned, does have a few extra features, particularly the active cruise control and items like that. Again, it always comes down to budget. So, obviously, the biggest competitor that this vehicle has in the market comes from Toyota. And I think they are very, very similar. The battle between Toyota and Ford with the Ranger and the Hilux has been raging for the last year or two, and it's going to keep raging, and I think it carries over to this version as well, the SUV versions between the two. It's very much a case of you take your choice which one you prefer. Overall, I think this vehicle certainly suits its purposes. I know for a fact that it is very capable off-road as well, which is again dependent on whether you are planning to use your vehicle off-road. But it does have that. It also has that safety factor, the inherent safety factor of permanent four-wheel drive in difficult circumstances.